Sorry for the hiatus. Just some more live stuff coming up. Thankful it's the beginning of the year and there's no college football because it's been hectic trying to get on a consistent schedule with this. But we're live today. We're ready to rock. Justin, how was your week? And what do you kind of want to talk about today? Let's just run through maybe a little rundown before we actually get into it.
Yeah, man, it wasn't bad. I mean, it's Arkansas weather, so it's really weird. I think I'm already gonna have to mow my yard in early March, which is kind of I mean, maybe it happens every once in a while, but I should have really mowed it at the end of February and I didn't. Um so it's weird. I've been golfing like 3 times already this year because it's like 80 degrees it feels like outside every other day. Um, but other than that, man, good. Kind of keeping up with a little bit of college basketball. Obviously, you got March Madness coming up and all that. Um, the Big 12's kind of doing some cool stuff in college basketball. Obviously, we're not a college basketball show, but they're gonna have a glass court where they can like project or like maybe it's not project, however they call it. Pretty much whatever they want to on the court, which is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Um, and then obviously the Olympics happened with both hockey teams winning gold, which was really cool for the men and the women. And then obviously the figure skaters and the curling and everything. We weren't really big into Olympics, like especially Winter Olympics, I would say, probably because we don't have any of the Winter Olympic sports. But it was still cool to watch, when you don't have college football and NFL football. I mean, you'll start watching overseas soccer just to get that kind of competitive edge knocked off on if you can find it on TV.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the. I've kind of become a hockey fan over not a huge one. I'm not diehard at all,
Yeah.
but I kind of keep up with it and I like the playoffs. But honestly, I was most impressed with Alyssa Liu or Liu, however you say her name.
Yeah.
I thought it was just most of the time whenever you see figure skaters, they all kind of look the same. Like they'll be different ethnicities, but like they're all put together really well and they're wearing the same clothes and
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to tell a difference in them, honestly. And she was just so unique. And I kind of read into her story, and I don't know, that was a really, really impressive feat for her. But the men's hockey is what I mean. Holy cow, dude!
Yeah.
That was a whirlwind of a game and a whirlwind of like. It's almost like okay, if you watched a lot of Arkansas football this year, then this will kind of relate. But imagine you had the ball on the 10-yard line 4 times and you came away with 3 points
Yeah.
and lost the game. Like that's kind of how it felt if you're Canada. They had 48 shots, I think it was, and America had
Yeah.
24. And some of the saves Connor Hellebuck made in that game was like out of this world. You almost like the hand of God came in and was right in front of the goal. Um, it was an amazing performance. Yeah, I was super excited about that. As far as college basketball, it's almost the best time of the year. As much as I love
Hmm.
college football and I love the college football playoff, as exciting as it is, nothing beats Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of March Madness.
Yes.
Nothing beats it. Like
Yeah.
nothing in the world beats it. It's the most exciting.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it's unmatched. I mean, there's not another sport that does it like college basketball. That's why it's called March Madness for a reason. Um, that is probably one of my favorite weekends. I would say rivalry week is number one for me. Um, March Madness. Yeah, probably Masters is number two, Masters weekend, and then March Madness would be three for me. I mean, I know you didn't ask, obviously, but like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm a big sports guy and I love golf and I love football. So they got to go one and two, especially with the Masters and all that, which that's coming up. But I mean, March Madness, the way that things can happen and just the aspect of you could be watching an 8-9 game that's tight, but then you flip it over to a 1-16 game because the 16 seed is up by 10 with 5 minutes left. And you're flipping back and forth, and there's like 6 games on at one time, and you always get that Cinderella story where somebody gets hot and they pretty much take over the tournament. And even though they don't go all the way to the final game, if a team like, I don't know, Delaware makes it to the Final Four or the Elite Eight, like that's who everybody's talking about. Nobody's talking about Kentucky making it to the Final Four. They're talking about Delaware making it to the Sweet 16. And like, you just have that underdog presence because basketball is a very up and down sport, and you could either be hot or you might not be. That's why I love it. I mean, it's so fun. I'd never played basketball in high school. Never. I mean, I would mess around in the gym, but I never played. Never really got interested in it. Um, but it's something that if you like to watch people or athletes compete, March Madness has got to be up there with the top of everything.
I agree. I think it's one shining moment after the final, or after the
Yeah.
final game, and just everything about it. There's so many storylines, and we can kind of talk about that. Not probably not this week, but conference tournaments are next week, so we'll definitely get to talk about it a little bit. And then you got Selection Sunday and all that. So college basketball is definitely going to be on the forefront, but this is a college football show, so
Yeah.
let's talk about some college football. There's not much as far as in the news cycle. There's some more Michigan man stuff, but I kind of want to focus right now on the combine.
Yeah.
I'll let you start. I know you've thought about it and you've been keeping up with it probably more than I have. Who are your winners and what kind of surprised you
I mean,
the
the winners for me is
most?
the Ohio State linebackers, probably. Those were some of my biggest winners. Taylon Green was a big winner. There was an offensive lineman. I forget his name. It's a funky name. I would probably botch it anyways, but I mean he had a freaky day too. But I think there was a lot of athletes, like the Washington guy, the kid from Arkansas, the running back that ran and tested really good.
Mhm.
I think there was a lot of guys that tested really well that just got overshined by Sonny Styles. Um, what I don't think people understand is, and I took it for granted too. I mean, I have his jersey, but I never thought. I knew he was a freak athlete. I talked to you about it. I talked about it on the show, but I never knew he was that.
Mhm.
I mean, you're talking about he's as close of an athlete that we've seen to Megatron ever. I know that's really weird to say, but 40 times are very comparable when you add. I think he's 20 pounds heavier than Megatron, or maybe 15. Um, I mean, he's a freak show. If people don't know, he measured in at 6'5", 240, 245, 244. Ran a 4.46. Vertical jump was a 43 and a half. Broad jump was an 11.2. Like, I mean, stuff that you like hope you get on video game type numbers. Arvell Reese, same exact height and weight. And he ran a 4.42. Exactly the exact 4.46 also. He ran the exact same time as Sonny Styles. Caleb Downs didn't test. We had a corner from Ohio State, Igbinosun, that really helped his draft stock. He ran a 4.5, or a 4.4 maybe. Carnell Tate, he ran a 4.5, but a lot of people are kind of not. They think he ran like a 4.48, which to me a 4.52 and a 4.48 is like the same thing. You can't really tell a difference. The thing that made me most upset about the combine, especially being an Ohio State fan, was like we're gonna have, and if somebody wants to bet me on it, I'd bet my house on it. Ohio State's gonna have 4 players go in the top 10. we got knocked out in the first round of our playoffs. I know it wasn't technically the first round, but it was the first round we played in. We're gonna have 4 players go in the top 10, and we might have 6 players go in the first round. With Caden McDonald and then Igbinosun, because I don't think Igbinosun's a first round corner. I just think that people are gonna fall in love with him because he's fast and he's physical and he's 6'2", which is kind of big for a corner. But it's absolutely atrocious on the offensive side of the ball from last year's team with Ohio State, that we had all that talent and we pretty much pissed it away because our offensive coaches couldn't call a game plan. I mean, if we would have won the national championship, and let's just say we went undefeated because we beat Indiana, I mean, we would be in the conversation that we're just as good, if not better, as 2019 LSU. Um, because we had a historical defense, and I think our offense was better than LSU's defense that year. But obviously, that's all down the drain. All we can do is live and learn from it. I don't think we'll ever have 2 linebackers like that again come through Ohio State, ever. I mean, receivers, they come and go, like that's whatever. But 2 linebackers that put up times like that. I mean, Sonny Styles scored a 10 on the athlete test, which is, all your numbers combined to pretty much everybody that's ever competed in the combine. And the last person to do that was Aaron Donald. So it's like, that's what type of like player he is. Like, I think he's a surefire, like, probably 10-year vet in the league. And it's disappointing to me all that talent passed through the program and we don't really have anything to show for it as of last year. I mean, we have the Natty 2 years ago, but I
I mean,
don't.
you have a national championship, but I
Yeah,
know what you
I
mean.
mean, it's frustrating for me.
Yeah, I can see how that'd be frustrating. I mean, what would you maybe attribute the shortcoming to? I mean,
I would say offensive line play.
what could y'all have done different? You think that maybe better set you up?
Offensive line play and play calling, especially. Um, and probably I didn't mind how we played throughout the season. I just wish that we would have had games to where we really tried to air it out more, if that makes sense. I didn't mind trying to get our starters off the field as quick as possible and keep our players off the field, like as early as you could. You know what I mean? But the running the ball, running 3 tight end sets, not really putting Julian Sayin in points to where he's gonna be stressed, I guess you can say, and have to deal with conflict and adversity and stuff like that. That really screwed us over at the end of the year. And obviously, our schedule from last year was, easy. It was probably one of the easier schedules. Now, we couldn't have fixed that. We can't do anything about who they put in front of us, but um, that's what I would say. Think we were coaching I think we were coaching to not lose instead of coaching to win, and we never coached to win, especially on the offensive side of the ball, until it was too late. That's what I would say. Defense was fine. I mean, we had a generational defense, best defense of all time. Um, that I truly believe that. The stats will say that. You can say like we didn't play anybody. You're right, but I don't think you can go back to like the 2021 Georgia team and say that they played a tough schedule either, because we talked crap about their schedule that year as well.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say it's disappointing for an Ohio State fan. I can see all the points you made. I wouldn't argue against any of them. As far as my disappointment, obviously Taylor Green, and we have like Taylor Green, Xavier Story, Fernando Carmona, Mike Washington, all in this combine.
Yeah.
And Taylor Green and Mike Washington, I mean, it's probably my algorithm feeding me it to an extent, but I've just been seeing like all these people talking about these freaks and talking about
Yeah.
how Taylor Green is this project guy. And they can't believe how good he tested. And Mike Washington is just, like they're comparing his combine stats to other elite running backs. And it, it's disappointing because At times, the offense was the problem. At
Yeah.
times, defense was the problem. But you can't say to me, and I said this going into the year, that we had talent,
Yep.
but those guys aren't the caliber of player you would normally find on a 2-10 team. Like this 2-10
Oh,
season wasn't the same as 2018 or 2019.
yeah.
There was talent all over the field, and there was talent in every position that you would want talent in to at least win 6 games. I mean, and I think that's the most disappointing part. Now, of course, moving forward, I don't know if you have another Taylor Green athletically. Hopefully, we have a better one with decision making.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Ryan Silverfield is developing whoever. It's KJ Jackson. If it is KJ Jackson, I'm disconnected.
I can still hear you.
If it is KJ Jackson, I think a big deal of it is that he has a lot of physical tools. Like he's got a good arm. He's able to deliver the ball through traffic. We saw that in against Texas and against Missouri. But he also has the ability to break tackles and extend plays and run the ball. And I think that's a big deal for an offense. Like if you watch Memphis last year, their quarterback, he wasn't Taylor Green running, but he was mobile and he moved the pocket around and made plays. But yeah, I think that was my biggest thing about the combine was I was focusing on the Arkansas guys, and then it would be like, oh well, Mike Washington just did this, and Mike Washington just broke this record, and Taylor Green 6'6" and just broke this record and broke this record, and he's as fast as Julio Jones or faster than Julio Jones. Like, guys, you know what I mean? Like, quit
Yeah.
beating me. I'm already a dead horse. You're killing me.
Yeah. And
But yeah, it got me excited for next season just to push that out of my brain. It's finally over with. I don't have to think about it anymore.
yeah, that makes sense. Here's my question. Do you think Taylor Green, because he got asked to run receiver drills, and I always think that it's a really stupid question because they tried it with Lamar. But Lamar had a better arm than Taylor Green, I think. Now, some of that might either go to like his athletic ability and just his throw presence, or some of that can go into quarterback coaching. Your quarterback coach depends a lot on like how receptive you are, obviously, to the game plan. But then again, like if you don't have a good quarterback coach, which I don't know who Arkansas's quarterback coach was, but if you don't have a good quarterback coach, you're not gonna be the height of your potential. Like for example, and I bring up Ohio State because I think Ryan Day is one of the best quarterback coaches you can have. They took Will Howard, and if you go watch Will Howard at Kansas State versus watching Will Howard at Ohio State, he was kind of the same quarterback, but he was a lot different when it came to his throwing mechanics. And he was a lot better passer at Ohio State than he was at Kansas State. I don't know if Taylor Green has the potential to be a good passer. I've seen him throw good balls. I've seen him throw bad balls. I've seen him make really good decisions. I've seen him make bad decisions. My question is do you think it would have been smart for him to go a Terrell Pryor route, just commit to playing receiver early? Because he got offered to he got offered to do the receiver drills, and he turned it down and he said, "I'm not doing it. I'm a quarterback." If people don't remember, Terrell Pryor went into the league as a quarterback. It didn't go well. He switched to receiver I think it was his first year playing receiver. He was a 1,000-yard receiver because he was just a freak athlete, a lot like Taylor Green is. And I feel like personally, he would last longer in the league because people fall in love with measurables and people fall in love with speed. Cough, DK Metcalf at the wide receiver position. They do at quarterback as well, but at quarterback you have people like Anthony Richardson, and they don't give you as much time at quarterback, especially if you're that style of quarterback. If that makes sense, Mason.
I think from a physical tools standpoint, Talon has everything you want. Talon does have a strong
Yeah.
arm. Talon has every speed attribute. He's as tall as you could ever want him to be. But I think it's more of a decision making standpoint
Yeah.
because Lamar Lamar was very similar in a sense of they both made bad decisions throwing the ball. But as far as just actually just throwing the ball, if you stood them both in a field, both at leaving college, I don't know that Lamar's better than Talon or that Talon's better
Yeah.
than Lamar. But and that's not to say Talon's a better football player or even comparable. I don't think it's even close. I think Lamar's head and shoulders better. As far as the receiver thing, I'm glad you brought that up because Arkansas had a very similar situation, an Arkansas player had a very similar situation in 2003, I think it was. Matt Jones, he was from Van Buren. He, big, tall, 6'5", whatever, ran a 4.3. Like the number 2 fastest quarterback 40 of all time is Matt Jones. Taylor Green's up there now too, and he switched and he had minimal
Yeah.
success. And we've seen that more often than we've seen Terrell Pryor. We've seen that more often than
Yes.
we've seen, like Braxton Miller had a few decent years. And like Denard Robinson didn't do anything whenever he went to Jacksonville and was a running back. Like it's just, I think it's a hard
Yeah.
switch because you're trying to learn a whole new position and I'm sure a much more complex playbook. And you have so many
Yeah.
other external factors. Like you're making real, like, well, I guess now Taylor
I
made
just
money, but
look at it.
I was going to say you're
Yeah,
making
I
money,
just
but
look at it like this. Like, do you think Taylor Green, and I've told you this, I could see in 2 years, Lamar, if I think in a perfect scenario, Taylor Green would go to the Ravens. I think he's a perfect backup for Lamar. They're very similar play types. If you go watch Lamar in college, him and Taylor, I wouldn't say they play a lot alike, but there's similarities, except Lamar has a little more cockiness about him, I guess you could say, in a good way. Um,
Lamar's a lot more elusive
yes.
for sure.
Yes. Talon's a lot more like long, I guess you could say, when it comes to, not breakaway speed, just his strides are longer. But they're very dual threat. In a perfect scenario, he would go to the Ravens or somewhere like the Chiefs. I could see in 3 years Taylor Green like leading the Chiefs or the Ravens to like a 7-0 season because somebody got hurt. But I feel like that's like a 5% chance. The other 95% is he probably is going to get drafted in the 5th, 6th, 7th round. He's going to ride back up, probably get moved to practice squads, and then in like 2 years, he's going to be out of the league. At least at receiver, he's going to be able to athlete his way enough to where there's more receiver positions. So you have more opportunity to not be the best guy on the team, but still make the cut, if that makes sense. I'm not talking about him coming in the league and being just some crazy receiver. I'm just talking about trying to stay in the league as long as possible. I feel like personally, wide receiver is the best option for him. And I hate saying that because I'm the guy that when people say, oh, Justin Fields should just be a receiver, it's like, that's dumb. No, he shouldn't be. I don't like doing that, but I also see, like, I don't like it when people, if a quarterback starts failing, they throw that out there. Like, Justin Fields was a good
Mm-hmm.
quarterback in college, had a great completion percentage. Taylor Green, not so much. He had an interception problem, he had a decision making problem. That's the only reason I bring up the receiver aspect of it. Do I think he's going to be some, number one, number two, like Terrell Pryor was? No, I just think for the longevity of staying in the league, I think receiver would be the best option for him.
I think a great route for him is, and this is a guy that's way less athletic than him, is Felipe Franks.
Yeah,
Felipe at Florida didn't have a great completion percentage. Felipe at Arkansas didn't have a great completion percentage, but like he was good enough to win some games. He went to Atlanta. He became a special
yeah,
teams player and a tight end. And I think a big deal of that is, he was just willing to do whatever it took
yeah.
to be on a roster. I think that's kind of what Talon has to do. I think in 2 years we're not
No,
talking about. I don't think
no.
anyone even knows where Talon is. I don't project an NFL career for him that goes beyond. I mean, unless he does something like that where he becomes valuable in a different way, I don't think it's at quarterback.
Yeah,
But I do think if he gets into the right system, maybe. I mean, I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know. I think a guy that's way more likely to, because you've kind of seen it the last 5, 6, 7 years, is like these rookie running backs will come in and have like an 800-yard season, and they'll come on at the end of the year. I think Mike Washington's a perfect candidate for that. Obviously, you're going to have Jeremiah Love, who's going to be running back one, running back two. I can't remember who they were saying running back two is, but that running back three spot is like wide open.
Yeah.
And if like the Chargers, who have a bunch of backs, or like the Texans kind of need a back, or even Cleveland,
The
or
Texans just got
I could see the Giants kind of needing
the
another back.
Texans just got David Montgomery.
I don't care about David Montgomery. No, he's okay. But I'm just saying, like teams like that, like maybe in a scheme where it's about defense and running the ball, like you could see a player like Mike Washington kind of
Yeah.
come in and have a good effect and be able to like make some noise. Because I think if he didn't have the fumbling problem, because he had 11 total fumbles in college, that's a lot of fumbles over 4 years.
I think he would fit really well. Like
if you're playing Pee Wee, junior high.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
What was that? Sorry.
I could see him fitting somewhere like the Steelers. Honestly, I know the Steelers have some rookie running backs, but like running backs, if you're not Jeremiah Love, you're probably going in the second, third, maybe fourth round. And I feel like Washington is a perfect pick there because his upside is so high. And here's my thing with the fumbling problem. Yes, he definitely had a fumbling problem. That's a lot of fumbles to have in your college career. But at the same time, Arkansas as a team had a fumbling problem. Like,
well, he was at New Mexico before he was at Arkansas. He had a fumbling problem there too.
Yeah. But it never got like.
I mean, yeah, we did like for sure.
Yeah, I feel like fumbling is something that you need to work on all the time. Like if you're taught not to fumble the ball, obviously everybody tells you don't fumble the ball, but if you're never taught how to not fumble the ball, you're probably it's a hard thing to learn. And it was one thing that I always seen watching the Arkansas games is it seemed like constantly somebody was fumbling the ball, receivers, tight ends, running backs, somebody. But I mean, I think he's a sneaky good pick. I would probably pick him up in fantasy, depending on what team he goes to. Um, I enjoy the draft. I enjoy the combine. I enjoy all that. It's also really funny to listen to the NFL coaches think that college coaches are dumb or don't know what they're talking about, so they draft somebody way higher than what they really need to be. That player for me this year is probably Makai Lemon from USC. I think he's going to be a bust, personally. I think he's going to be okay, but I think, to me, if you're a top 5 pick and you don't, last 5, 6 years in the league, barring injury, to me, I think you're a bust. You wasted a lot of time on those picks. But obviously, there's injuries involved too. But Makai Lemon, I don't think he's going to be very good.
One last thing. I don't really have a whole lot to talk about today.
I can bring up the Michigan guy, Mason, if you want me to.
Yeah, we can do that in one sec. I want to say, rest in peace, Lou Holtz.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to say one-time national champion. If you're like me and you claim the Arkansas national championship that he got, he's a two-time national champion. I don't know why the University of Arkansas doesn't claim it. No idea, but I claim it. Two-time national champion Lou Holtz, Arkansas coach for 7 seasons. Obviously, he's more known for his, Notre Dame and having a statue there. But I always remember whenever I was little and we'd have, ESPN college football final. Lou Holtz would be on there with Mark May, and they would just be doing like the goofiest things, like court judging and stuff. So yeah, I want to say rest in peace to that legend, and then we can kind of get into the Michigan.
Yeah, well, I actually, okay, so I'm a diehard Ohio State fan. For sure, rest in peace, Lou Holtz. Like a legend in college football. He'll always be a legend in college football. He'll always be remembered. I mean, nobody can listen to Lou Holtz talk and not know who he is. But these are the times that I hate Ohio State fans. I'm on Ohio State Facebook because I don't have Twitter. I don't do Twitter. And I seen the Lou Holtz post about, how he died. Not how he died, just he passed away. Literally 2 scrolls down. And this was like 30 minutes after everybody found out. Some Ohio State fan posted the Ryan Day talking about, I'd really like to know where Lou Holtz is right now. And I was like, geez, man, too soon. Like it's funny, but like at the same time, like it's just like diabolical. I mean, if you really want to see some dark humor, like you're gonna click your phone off and not want to laugh for the rest of the day type humor, just get on social media. I mean, it's I want to say it's disgusting, but I can't sit here and say that I didn't like crack a giggle. No, it's not funny. Obviously, he died of old age, which is one of the best ways to pass away. It's not like he died of something catastrophic, but I mean, just that soon after 30 minutes, I was just like, wow, okay, I got to disconnect from my phone for a little bit. Yeah, so about the Michigan stuff. So everybody knows what happened with Harbaugh. He had 4 or 5 different things go on. He ended up having to leave. When he left, a lot of the coordinators left besides Sharon Moore. Last year, Sharon Moore did all his crazy stuff, which now it's kind of coming out that some of it was false, but some of it was true. I don't really keep up with it like that because, as Mason knows, and as a lot of other people know, um, when it comes to those allegations, us as a country have a lot more things that are in allegations around that same standpoint, if that makes sense. I don't want to talk about it, obviously, because that's politics and that's a whole nother issue, but I didn't keep up with the Sharon Moore trial and stuff like that. If he's guilty, that's awful. You should never do that. If he's not, then, we'll see if we can move on. Obviously, the things he did after he got accused of it, you can't move on from that. But he was one of the coaches on Harbaugh's staff. This coach that I'm going to talk about, um, Latroy. Le, will you look him up, Mason? His name just skipped my mind. You just look up Atlanta Falcons coach under investigation. It's La, Davis Troy.
One sec.
Yeah, I think it's Laquan Troy or something like that. Anyways, so he was on the staff.
LaTroy Lewis.
Okay, so LaTroy Lewis was on the staff with Harbaugh. And then when all that stuff went down, he left and went to the Atlanta Falcons. Well, it came out, and the Atlanta Falcons just released him, but it came out when he was at Michigan. He found this girl on this dating site and was messaging her like horrible, horrible things. Like I'm talking about like out there with some of the quote unquote files that are getting released right now out of the FBI and stuff. I mean, tying you up, kicking you, punching you, like all kinds of disgusting things. And then it ended up coming out that they got together, and then the morning after, she had Snapchatted pictures of herself to Sharon Moore and told him that he needed to get his coach pretty much because she had bite marks all over her. She had bruises. I mean, it's to me, it's messed up regardless of if you're a coach, if you're not a coach, whatever. But it's crazy to me how Michigan always touts theirself as these, higher than everybody else Michigan men. You said it earlier, Mason. And it's just crazy that all these people were on the staff at Michigan at the same time. You had Sharon Moore, that's the head coach, but not anymore, that threatened to kill his mistress and himself. You had this guy that I just told you about. You had another guy that was like a staffer that got caught up in one of the pedophile, like sting operations at a Walmart. You had another guy that was hacking into girl athletes at Michigan's computer and getting nudes out of their personal belongings through their computer. He was hacking them. I mean, there was like 7 or 8 coaches on that staff that didn't just do like, oh, he got a DUI or he failed a drug test for weed or something like that. No, I'm talking about stuff that like you're going to prison for the rest of your life, possibly type stuff. And it's just wild to me that all that kind of circulates around one single program. Um, and not really many people are talking about it, but more people are talking about the Georgia speeding tickets. And it's like, really, who has more of a culture problem? Are the speeding tickets really that big of a deal, or are we just hearing about it because like Georgia already has a speeding issue? I don't know, man. It seems like every week something new comes out about Michigan, and it's wild. I mean, we just heard about Sharon Moore, the head college football coach at Michigan, which is a blue blood, having a relationship with somebody on staff, and then everybody found out about it, and then he went to her house and threatened to kill her, and then also threatened to kill himself, and like went to like stuff like that has happened around the Michigan program for like the last 3 years, and it seems like the whole country just like brushes it away. Like they got caught stealing signs and going to like an Arkansas Tennessee game, filming the sideline and filming the play and putting 2 and 2 together. And then we came out with helmet comms, but like, hey, you're just gonna get like a 4-game ban. Like we're not really gonna do anything to you. Like it blows my mind to like sit here and think about all the stuff that they've done and be like, what repercussions have they really had? They really haven't had any. Maybe some little slap on the wrist, but like everything that they've done, their program should be in shambles, like the Penn State program was, or the SMU program was back in the 80s. Like it's just crazy to me how much they've gotten away with and really not answered for any of it.
Well, unfortunately, I don't think they ever will because it just seems like that's the way it's going.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, other than that, though, man, there's really not much going on in college football. Obviously, the transfer portal's, wrapped up, and we're about to have spring games come up probably in the next, month to 2 months. And then me and Mason are going to get into, breaking down the conferences. We're going to have to start conference breakdowns earlier this year than we did last year, just because there's so many. We're probably going to have to do 2 episodes for the SEC and 2 episodes for the Big Ten, just because we go live now instead of recording it previously and then putting it out. And I think last year when me and Mason did the SEC and the Big Ten especially, we did like a 2-hour episode, which we don't mind doing that. But leave it in the comments if that's something you guys like. Do you like the length of the episodes that we give you? We try to do an hour. Obviously, this one's probably going to be shorter because it's off season. There's really not much to talk about. Or would you rather have a longer episode when it comes to conference breakdowns and who we think is going to be good and who we think is going to be bad? Because obviously you guys, the ones that watch, week in and week out, or kind of keep up with us when we do shows, you guys are the ones that like we're making the content for. I mean, me and Mason could just go talk on the cell phone about college football, but we feel like we know college football as much as anybody, and we want to give you guys our perspectives on what's going on. So we want to give you something that you enjoy to listen to. We don't want to do a 2-hour show and you guys stop watching it in an hour. So if you guys want us to do longer shows when it comes to the conference breakdowns, we can. If you guys want us to do shorter shows, we can break, especially the Big Ten and the SEC. The other ones, the ACC and the Big 12, like we kept it around an hour and 15 minutes. But the 2 main conferences, I mean, you're talking about 18 and 16 teams that we're pretty much talking about all of them besides maybe 2 in each conference.
And if we split it up, we can give everyone their own, time.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, a lot of people don't think about it, but 2 hours sitting in front of a camera and talking about it. I never really had a problem with the 2 hours. It was more doing the research on all the teams that we were talking about was the hardest part because it's not like
We were forgetting teams and players and name. I mean, it was hard.
well, and you don't have like, oh, that guy was there last year, so he's going to be there again this year. It's like who they get out of the transfer portal, who did they lose, who did they have keyed as a starter. This guy might not start, but this guy might. He's having a good spring, which that's what the show's about. But eventually, like we also aren't walking encyclopedias for college football, so um,
Mm-hmm.
obviously that's how that is. But that's all I got, Mason. Obviously, everybody don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Bear with us too. Obviously, Mason had stuff go on in his personal life. I have things going on in my personal life. This time of year, obviously, I don't want to say it's easier for us to like take a week off, I guess you could say. But if we have something going on, there's really not a lot to talk about. But we're definitely going to try to bring you guys a show at least every week. When we get back to season, it'll definitely be every week, and it'll go to twice a week. But just keep us on your mind. If you're driving down the road and you want to listen to somebody, you can listen to us to talk about sports and college football primarily. But that's all I got, Mason.
We will see you next week or maybe next weekend. I don't know for sure, but y'all have a good night.